Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Lose, Live, Learn. I have a very special guest interview for you this week because I had the absolute pleasure of recently interviewing a friend and coach, someone who I've known via social media for a few months at least. I think I've known her for most part of 2017. And we have connected on social media for a while because we have very similar stories. And I know that you are going to absolutely love this interview. I know that you're going to gain so much from it, just like I did, because I started implementing some of the things that she mentions in this video pretty much straight away. And I know that you're going to love her and just adore the way she kind of is very open and honest about her journey, and it's so powerful, and I can't say enough. So I hope you enjoy this video, settle in, and let's get started. You're watching Lose, Live, Learn, the show which brings you real life strategies to help you live your healthiest life, free from guilt, shame, and dieting. I'm your host, Melanie Knights. So welcome to this week's episode of Lose, Live, Learn, everyone. I have the absolute pleasure of introducing you to another friend and coach of mine. I have known this lady, I would say about 6 months maybe. We've kind of had
something like that.
Yeah, maybe longer.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of conversations on Insta stories back and forth.
Yes.
And we got on the phone, and I knew it was a great fit beforehand because I knew that this was somebody who I wanted to interview, have very similar stories about how we got into the industry and kind of our lifestyles.
Yeah.
And so I wanted you guys to get to know Stacy. So Stacy, welcome to Lose, Live, Learn.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome.
Super exciting.
And yeah, I'm so excited to kind of hear you talk about this topic today that we're going to get into. So we're going to be talking all about making yourself a priority and why it's important. And because I know she has a lot to say. So we're going to talk all about this today because I know that you guys really struggle with this. So we're going to dive into that topic. So I'd love for you to just go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
All right. So my name is Stacy Hobson, and I am the founder and owner of Fat to Fitabulous Stacy Hobson. I am a certified personal trainer. I am also a certified nutrition coach through Precision Nutrition. And basically, I just help coach women to just be the best version of themselves, but be healthier, be happier through exercise and through food and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, definitely something that we need to all be doing and taking
care of
ourselves. Okay, so I would love to for you to share with my audience kind of how you got started on this journey, how you ended up in the industry, and also like a few of your aha moments that you've had over the last few years as well.
Okay, all right. So it was like in December of 2013. So I actually at that time weighed my highest weight of 245 pounds. So I am short. I'm about 5 foot on a good day. And so, so that said, having that much having that much weight on a shorter body can actually, first of all, make you look so much heavier than what that scale says. But also, too, it was just a lot to carry around. So, it was the highest I've ever weighed. And my jeans were like a size 20, but they were starting to get tight at that time. I was wearing size 2XL in my top. So, the only really places I could shop for my clothes was through Lane Bryant, because they pretty much was the only place that I could find clothes to fit me, because even like the plus size section that some of these other stores carry, it definitely was not at all.
No.
So it was actually that month, like I got kind of fed up. My daughter was 3 at the time, and I was working full time, and then, trying to help my husband taking care of our house, and we have our child. And I really just got sick and tired of hating myself so much because of how much I weighed. I could not even stand to look at myself in the mirror, let alone take a photo with my daughter, to celebrate a certain moment. There would be plenty of times like I wouldn't go anywhere. I wasn't even like living my life. I would, I mean, to tell you like that December, I finished my master's degree. And I would not even go and join my classmates for the walk to graduate because
Wow.
of how much I weighed. So I mean, it would even go as far as like, I wouldn't even go celebrate. That's like a huge thing to get
That's
your
huge.
master's degree. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. And I could not even bring myself to go celebrate such a thing. Because of how much I weighed, because I was just so ashamed. And so everywhere I went, I constantly was like thinking, oh my God, they were thinking, hey, there's the fat girl, or why is the fat girl here? Or, even like if being in a restaurant and you're eating your food, like you feel like people are looking at you because you're so big and like they're staring at you like, what are you eating? When you feel like you should be eating the little rabbit food, that people think you're supposed to eat. So anyways, it kind of just all of those feelings really just crashed down on me. But it was because of my daughter. Having a little girl, I really wanted to be a good mom, and I wanted to be a role model to her. And so I knew that if I was going to be the great mom that I really wanted to be, I was going to have to do something, because bottom line, my weight, everything was on me so much that I just felt numb all the time. So I really wasn't present. So I was here, I was going through the motions all the time, just taking care of her, doing what I needed to do, but I was kind of numb, and I was just like, it was almost like you're just walking around like a zombie half the time.
Yeah.
So that was the starting point for me. So that's why I started to take care of myself. Because I will be honest, I made the choices leading up to that weight gain. There were some things that had happened. I never dealt with stress very well. I'm a super emotional eater, so when stuff would get really, first and foremost, after I had Reese, I struggled with postpartum depression for like a good year before I even like sought help, because I did not know that's what it was. Like, people to this day still do not talk about this.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know what it was. And so I would eat too to help numb that feeling. Like, food was the way for me to numb and just make it all go away, at least for that little bit of time.
Yeah, there are so many things there that cross over with things that I have felt. I mean, you said about the restaurants, and it's so fascinating to me, because when you are bigger, you take up space. Like, you are bigger, and you are visible and you are invisible at the same time.
Yes.
And so it's when you're in a restaurant, we make these, and the thing is, people could be judging us, we don't know, but we think that it's like, I shouldn't order this on the menu because the waitress might judge me. And then if you order something, you're fearful that they're going to say, oh, you're on a diet, or they're going to assume you're on a diet. And it's like, it's just so now when you can reflect, it's so frustrating, because it's like, it's none of their business. And
of course,
in addition to that, though, that's the way people are, like, we have lived, and so many women are living that's their life, and that's the way they feel. And it's like, what, even now, if you order a salad, whoever orders a salad, unfortunately there is still the assumption that you're on a diet, so that makes no difference. But it's just so many things. Like, you talked about postpartum depression, and I certainly saw myself in that when I had Grayson, and I can totally understand how that just kind of all catches up and it just keeps on going on top of you. And you're right. I mean, I knew what it was, but nobody was really available to help. And yeah, it's just really tough. And people don't talk about those things impacting our bodies and our weight enough. So thank you for sharing that, because that was very honest and very open. And, you know, I think we need to talk more about those things. So thank you so much.
Oh, of course. I mean, I 100% agree with you. I mean, especially because there are women who struggle with that. And especially when you are a first-time mom, I mean, your life just changed instantly. And then, so here you are trying to move through that. And then you're trying to deal with the postpartum stuff. And then you feel like there's something wrong. It's just so much. And it does feel like you have nowhere to turn for that.
It's tough. It's tough. So you've just written a really, really good blog, a really amazing blog, all about the moment that you started to make yourself a priority. And obviously this feeds into that time in that December, by the way, ladies, not January. Very end of the year, the most difficult, the most difficult time of the year, the most stressful.
Yes.
But I think that sometimes that just shows, it was like, I just have had enough. Like, it wasn't like I'm not really sure if I'm going to do this or not. It was like, nah, this is the end of it.
Well, and to tell you 100%, like I chose, like when I had finally got to that point, I just took action, because I promised myself I wasn't going to be another New Year's resolution fail like I had so many different times before. Yeah. So that was a part of it. Like, I'm not waiting till the new year anymore. Like, I did that too many times.
Do you remember like the day of the week it was and everything, like to the exact?
I do. So like, I remember it was actually like a week before Christmas.
Okay.
It was a week before Christmas, and I just remember thinking, you know, I have to do something. Like, I can't live like this anymore. So it was actually like at the time, I just downloaded that MyFitnessPal app, and I just started to track all the food that I put in my body. So at that time, I did begin to count calories, because that's all I knew to do at that time. But it was, you know, a very eye-opening experience. But I mean, yeah, I did that, and that's where I started. Like, it really, and every year when that comes around, right around that time, like, I just get super nostalgic, because I think about the old Stacy, and I think about that one little decision, and that one choice actually led me to where I'm sitting, like, right now. So,
and what you're saying right now is pretty amazing.
Thank you. I will admit, I agree with that. I think it's pretty sweet sometimes, and I got to pinch myself, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So I want to discuss this blog, because you talk about something that you did back in that December that had nothing to do with calories, MyFitnessPal, nothing to do with eating your food. Yeah. So share with us, you know, what it is you did and why it was so significant for your journey.
Okay. So what I actually did was I reverted back to journaling. So I was like 11 or 12 years old when I received my first journal. And when actually it was a diary. It was a diary that I received for Christmas from my parents, actually. So, well, of course, so we ended up, I remember writing in it that day. And from that point forward, I would always write down my feelings. So of course, as I got older, different things I would write about. But I actually did that for years. And even so, back in that December, I had a journal, but I wasn't consistent with it, and I kind of let it go. So what I decided to do was, I remember always just writing my feelings down. Journaling was it was very empowering for me. So I decided, because a part of me knew at that time, even though I didn't quite realize it, I very much knew the only way I was going to be successful this time was if I got my mind right. So I had already been following Nagar Fanouni, and I started to pick up on Jill Coleman here. Well, no, actually, no, I'll take that back. No, I did not. Not take that back. Okay, anyway, sorry. But I knew that in order to be successful, I was going to have to get my mind right. So here I was, I weighed what I weighed, and I physically saw this person in a mirror that did not feel like me. So I would see me, but that didn't feel like who I was. I didn't even know who the person was that was staring back at me. So I felt very much that I had lost myself. I needed to find that person. And the only thing that I knew that always connected me, and that was a safe space, like a space that nobody was going to ever know what I would say, think, anything like that. I could be totally open and honest. So I started like, I would maybe spend like 5 minutes every day just journaling. And so at that time I wouldn't really, it would be whenever I could. So a lot of times I picked in the morning, because I'd have to get up early to get myself ready before I got Reese ready. So I would drink my coffee and I would spend that 5 minutes journaling, and it wouldn't be anything perfect. It would, whatever I was thinking and feeling, it would go in there. So that was what I did to kind of give myself some me time, because first and foremost, I had to get some insight into really what was going on. Why did I hate myself so much? Why did I feel so worthless? What was it that was making me feel like a crappy mom and a crappy wife? And then like I wasn't good enough to be somebody's friend, or just a lot of times like exist. Like I felt like I was just taking up too much space, and I just wanted to hide in my home. And, because I couldn't, it's like I could not, I'm trying to think even how to, I felt like every time I walked out of the house, I was just being judged all the time. It was in my own mind, whether that is true or not. Yeah. Obviously we don't know the real reality of that situation, but that very much was my reality at the time. And of course, I was judging myself so badly that as soon as I walked out of that house, I just felt like that's what was going on the whole entire time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the thing, even though we talked about this before, I think it's really easy to say, do we know this for certain? But it doesn't matter whether we know this for certain in the moment. Sometimes it's like, it feels like it defines us. And yeah, you're so right. Like whether or not it was true, that was your reality, and that was how you felt. And, you've got to work through that, but it's still part of who you are. Those feelings, those thoughts are still part of who you are. So I think it's so powerful that you yes, you did a few different things. I think it's really, I'm glad you brought up the fact that you did calorie count in my fitness. Yeah. Because it wasn't like I just wrote it all down and then poof. It was a journey process. And that's what I also love about this, is that you started with something, and what you started with isn't where you are now, but it doesn't make it any less important to your entire, like the last 4 years. Like it's still incredibly important. And I think that's why it's like, I always say that we shouldn't, everything works, it doesn't all work for us, but we shouldn't get so caught up on like not adjusting. We have to adjust to things that change. And obviously now you are PN certified, so you have, so it's like it's a whole different like process, but you still have a process when it comes to food. And I know you cook simple. This like, I'm telling you guys, this lady it's like she's like my spirit animal when it comes to food. Like, throw it on a plate. If it's got vegetables, it's fine.
Right. It's not fancy. Like it's not even Instagram photo worthy, but it'll go on there anyway.
Yeah. So because it is such a process from where you were when you started, like with My Fitness Pal, to where you are now. Like how different does your lifestyle look now in comparison? Like what does a typical day look like for you?
Okay. So what a typical day would look like, I actually still start my morning with coffee and journaling. That is a non-negotiable. It has to be, it's just a part of it. Like I don't feel ready to go until that's done. So, and the journaling, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. I always do that. That could range anywhere from something big to just, I'm so glad I have this cup of coffee, or I'm thankful for the safe home that we have to live in where we can fall asleep and feel safe doing so, like stuff like that. And then depending on how I am feeling, then I might write down my thoughts or I might not. I usually kind of do an emotional check-in, just especially because I suffer from anxiety. So I kind of want to know like how I'm feeling when I first wake up, because when we first wake up, that's when we're kind of like, that's always my opinion of we're in our truest form. That's kind of when our intuition is high and what we can actually focus on, how we are, like, it will legitimately know what's going on with us at that moment. So I'll kind of emotionally and physically kind of see how I'm doing. But after that, like, sometimes I will have my exercise either in the morning, but I do teach a fitness class. So if I teach fitness class that day, then I teach in the evening. So then my workout is in the evenings. Okay. So after I do that, I mean, I kind of, I might work for a little bit in the morning for my business. And then as far as like my food, I really don't even hardly think about it anymore. It's just what I do. It's just how I eat. So like, I might have a plan written down, like what I'm going to eat, but it's just so like me and my life at this point. I instantly go grab, like I already know how to put together my plate for what I'm going to have. So I don't really like write down my food anymore. I definitely don't count calories anymore. So that's kind of like my typical day pretty much. Did I answer your question?
I mean, that's the thing. I wanted, I mean, totally 100% you answered my question, because I think it's really important for everyone to understand that, at some point it becomes automated and it becomes so much more effortless, but you have to kind of put in quite a bit of groundwork to get there. Like, this doesn't happen overnight. I mean, you're 4 years in. Whilst I'm 7 years in, I'm not really 7 years into this area of my life, but it's like, it's a process. We both started counting calories. We don't do it now, but that wasn't overnight. And I think I love that. I think it's so important to remember that it takes time to get to a point where you can look at your pantry, or look at your fridge, or even go to the grocery store, and it's just like bam, 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 and it doesn't have to be boring, and it can be 100% what you want. And it's
yes, right.
It's not just me.
No, it's not just you. Like, and if you think about like where we started and what we were doing, we very much would plan our food. We would write down what we were eating, and like we would always keep checking like how many calories is this or how many calories is that. Always, and especially in my FitnessPal app, you can scan the food. So we were always planning, and just it evolved from there. And it's probably just gotten like it's comfortable now, but it wasn't always like that. And it took a lot of work to get there. Like it is, I wish it could be instantaneous. I wish.
Yeah. The problem is we've got decades of diet industry, like pumping this stuff into us. So, that's why it's not instantaneous, because we don't trust ourselves. I just did a video on intuitive eating, and we don't trust our bodies. We don't trust that we have the answers. So, it's
you are so right about that.
If we can build that trust with ourselves, then everything will start to fall. But if we can't, then that's why some people aren't going to be ready for this, and some people are. That's what I always say to clients. Like, if you're not ready, it's okay. It doesn't mean you're never going to be ready, but that's fine.
Well, yeah, exactly. And like sometimes it's, they kind of just, they know they have to, let's say they know they have to meal prep just because it might be best for them, but then they don't want to meal prep because they ran out of time, or, there's a lot of conflicting information. I mean, like we probably, I mean, I don't meal prep. I'm assuming you don't meal
Not
prep.
anymore.
Not anymore. And there's a lot of people that do go on about that, but it takes a while to become that person, because you do have to learn to trust yourself. But man, going in, you're just, you just don't know. It's, yeah, and I don't know if we have to promise each other, if we ever figure out how to like start a beginner, just what route we can give them to help trust themselves a little better and get out of that diet mindset sooner. Like, we have to promise to tell each other.
Okay. You heard it
Okay.
first. Pinky swear.
Yeah, pinky swear.
Pinky
Okay.
swear. Okay. Cool. I like a challenge. Cool.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, Stacy, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for answering my questions and sharing your story with my audience. I know that I really loved hearing it. I loved hearing you had a master's degree. I didn't know this. This didn't.
Yeah. So, yes. Well, I guess then I'll just tell you. So, like, I have a bachelor's in business administration with a minor in human resources management. And I have a master's degree in instructional design and performance technology.
Wow. Amazing. And so, you know, a very different career, although still obviously business orientated.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That explains a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go. So yeah, I loved hearing that. And I hope that my audience were able to gain a few strategies and tips and some insight into the fact that this is a process and this isn't overnight, and things that they can do, because you definitely shared some things with me. I loved what you talked about the morning being the time that we can probably be most honest with ourselves. That's definitely something, because I tend to journal in the, like, during the day, because I work from home. So I tend to journal during the day when I have a break. But it's because I've kind of got a little bit lazy at not getting up early. But it's, it's, I know I needed to sleep. It's fine. It's come back now. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that when you get up in the morning, that cup of coffee, coffee, and just sitting there with yourself, it's a lot. It's a good time to do it. So yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So like, if somebody really wants to really get in tune with themselves and try to figure out who they are, why they're feeling, because it's one thing to look at yourself and think, I'm so fat and I hate myself. But like, when you physically write that down on paper and your eyes see that, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. I know that when I did an emotional eating challenge, and we had to write a letter to food. And there was many different aspects of it. But the first day I asked everybody to write a letter to food, and I did it. And I mean, it was like 5 pages long, and I was just sitting there and all this stuff. And so many of the women said that they kind of went into the challenge not knowing there was an issue. They came out of that one day going,
Yes.
And it was power. And it seems so, when I was writing, I was like, is anybody going to think this is normal to write a letter to your food? But it's almost like you're writing a letter to yourself as well. It's a relationship that we have, and it's toxic. So yeah, I definitely.
Oh my gosh, yes.
100%.
I love that.
Yeah, you'll have to try it. It's scary how much comes out.
Right. Oh my gosh. You just write okay. I will try that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just dear food and start writing.
Yes.
That's it. Okay. So I've loved having you on here. I think we're going to have to do another one, like talk about something else, because this is
perfect. Oh.
So tell my audience where they can find you. So where can they find you on social, and how can they get in touch with you and get more of you?
All right, definitely. So, so they can reach me on my website at fat2, the number 2. So it's fat2fitabulous.com.
Don't worry, I'll put that in the links in the show notes, guys.
Of course, right. I know, totally. And then also on Facebook, it's facebook.com/fat2fitabulous. And then on Instagram as fat2fitabulous_Stacy Hobson.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, thank you so much, girly. I am really honored to be a part of this. So honored you asked me to do this. So
you are so welcome, and I'm so glad that you said yes.
Okay,
so before okay, so
thank you so much, guys. I will make sure I put the link to how you can get more of Stacy over on social media. I do highly recommend following her Instagram, especially because I love her IG stories. I love seeing, you'll see that journaling is a part of her day, as is coffee and the basic food and lots of poop
So basic
as well. Like that always comes up.
Yes.
That's one of the first things I ever responded to. It's like, is that a poop emoji? Like,
I know.
it's like a cushion or something, or a blanket.
It is it's like a huge beanbag. Like you can sit on it. It's humongous.
Cool. Right. There's reasons to follow her, right? Again.
Right.
Okay. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And I will be with you again next week.